What's up, Change the Channel podcast listeners? My name is Megan Grace, and this is another episode of Change the Channel podcast. Welcome back to the show. On this episode, I might get a little ranty. I'm not apologizing for it. I'm just kind of setting the tone. There is some channels that I am feeling particularly feisty about changing. And one of the cool things about a podcast like this is we're not looking to only feel big emotions that are good. We can feel all sorts of emotions and move powerfully, make choices to shift, align them, understand them, change the channel about them. So my rant today is about the line that I think is well-meaning when someone says, oh, just don't give them your energy, or they're not worth your time, or, and we usually use these phrases as a way to tell someone that's already feeling something really strong, probably viscerally in their body. And we use it as a way of saying, well, that person didn't matter that much, therefore stop feeling what you're feeling. Or, just write it out or ignore it. So my little rant today is about meeting a person out in the world, and he was nice, and I was like, cool. He wanted to meet up for coffee. Everything seemed fine. But then from the moment that we were meeting to kind of the energy through some of the texting back and forth in between when we can meet up again, I was realizing that this person and we were just not energetically aligned. And I want to talk about that too, because I think that so often in our culture, there is this feeling of, I need to have like a big reason of why I do or do not want to spend time with someone. Or I need to explain myself if I'm not feeling if I'm not feeling good with this person, and perhaps it's not even something they're doing. Maybe it's something that's happened in the past and they remind you of it. And you're like, I know myself, and I know I don't have space for that. And what's so interesting is I think there's this message that I would love to change the channel on, that being quiet and acquiescing to things is being nice, or, well, it's just one coffee, or it's just one whatever. And it's like, well, but if you don't want to go, you don't want to go. If you don't want to talk to someone, you don't want to talk to them. And sometimes it's not because of a big reason. Sometimes it's just an inner knowing that you had a good moment with them, but maybe you don't want to continue that moment. So this was a scene. That was what happened. And I was like, the more I think about it, the more I realize even the amount of time that they wanted to spend trying to connect, I was like, I actually don't have time for that right now. And that to me sometimes is a message for me that says my priorities and my energy are shifting elsewhere. And I'm changing the channel of people pleasing into divine alignment that says I am going to follow the things that light me up, the things that are important to me. And so in the kindest, most clear way that I thought I could, I just sent a message letting him know that I wasn't really feeling, I thought that there might be a time and energy imbalance. And so, and that we might be looking for different things. So I wished him well and was like, go off in your world. And he responded with the most venomous, emotional, catty, below the belt, kind of vicious message almost. And I was just like, I was floored. I was legit floored. I'm like, oh, and he sent it from a different phone number. So this other phone number pops up on my phone and I'm just like, wow, you really needed to get me. You really needed to say something to me, didn't you? And I was feeling a certain kind of way. And then it was funny because a couple of people that were close to me, in a way of trying to kind of help me process or, be whatever, they're like, well, don't worry about them. Just don't think about them. And what I was getting more angry inside of me, like my throat chakra and my heart was like just mad. And I'm like, God, the number of times that I have not said out loud something because I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. I didn't want to say it wrong. I didn't want to stir up trouble. I didn't want, the list goes on. And so instead of actually saying my piece, because I know my words can be cutting, I swallow those words. And I was like, in an effort to not be, quote, bothered by someone that, I literally probably interacted with for not even an entire 24 hours worth of time. But the words hurt my feelings. And I realized it's actually okay that they hurt my feelings. It's okay for me to say that I am not walking around with a suit of armor where the things that people say just bounce off of me. I'm intentionally moving through life in a way to be softened and listening and empathic and tender, and healing my divine feminine. And so sometimes people are going to say shit and it's going to hurt. And I am in this space now where I'm like, what are we doing to our bodies and to each other when we say, just don't worry about something, but the body and mind is actively worried about it? We are teaching ourselves, we're teaching each other not to listen to the innate messages within our bodies. And that says essentially, it's probably too big for you. So we need to make it small, or it feels like this weird way of fracturing trust between the mind and the body. And I have a major issue with that because a lot of the clients that I work with are looking to reframe and heal their voice because their voice has felt silenced or unimportant. They've lost the ability to connect with the feeling within and assign a value to it, and then also put it out there in the world. And so I wonder if we've become a culture that's too afraid of emotions and too afraid to watch each other feel sad that we just say, stop feeling anything at all. And who the hell does that help? Like, who is being helped by having their feelings invalidated and then moving through the world being like, nothing that's happening around me should matter this much to me? What I would love to do is not, give us all a free pass for pity parties and cozy up with our mochas of victimness. But what I'm saying is, what if we're jumping too quickly to the resolution and not actually paying attention to the injury in the moment? It's like, just because someone doesn't have a severed leg and they come into the emergency room doesn't mean that the, deep laceration on their arm doesn't need stitches or antibiotic cream or a doctor to look at it. When we triage our stuff and say, you don't matter, this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, and we set ourselves out into the world, I feel like what happens is there is this internal mini infection that grows. And so it creates a deeper and more expansive space of tenderness. And so because we didn't look at, for example, in this situation with me, so many times in my life, I have let men talk to me in whatever ways they wanted to. And I internalized it. I would alchemize it later. I would, try to be in my spiritual sense, but I didn't say back to them that what they said hurt me. And I didn't actually even say out loud to myself that it hurt me. And so what happens is over time, there is this, it's almost like a bruise that just gets deeper and wider. And small things like a person that was mad I didn't want to meet him for coffee could actually come in and stir me up more than I would like to admit. And so today I am admitting it. I'm saying out loud that the way we talk to each other through things like social media, texting, like we're so far removed from the face and the emotion and the heart of the other person that's receiving our message that we sit in our own blind feelings, lobbing these words as if they're nothing. And words are like spells. So if I was a person that didn't actually have support set up for myself or, a high, feeling of positive regard or whatever, who knows what those words could have done to me. And I think that it's important to pause and realize that every strike of a key, every voice note, every conversation, every post, every share, message that we are endorsing with our own words and our own intention, those are opportunities to cast spells into the life of the people that are listening. And I just wish that if we knew that, we could change the channel on the idea that I'm just saying what I need to, I'm just venting, I'm just whatever. Maybe we wouldn't be shooting out so much collateral damage that other people are needing to work through in their life. What if we knew that every word that we say could be the thing that could either build up or tear down a human life in front of us? And oftentimes, I think it was Brene Brown that said, we never know the battles that other people are facing. You have no idea what the other person could be feeling when they receive a message from you or from me or from any of us. So my thought process is, number one, with this whole scenario, I realized I'm going to be a person that will say out loud to myself, and I'm grateful to have a podcast. This is actually a wonderful place to practice, just saying wow, it really hurts when someone says that to you. And it deeply hurts to feel misunderstood. And it deeply hurts to work so hard on crafting a kind, well thought out message that's authentic and clear, and to be just put rained down hatred and mean-spiritedness, which nobody deserves that. Literally nobody deserves that. And so there's that thing of allowing from the belly to the heart space to the throat to express the things that we feel, and to learn some resiliency when someone is expressing, especially if they're doing it in a healthy way. It's not something that's, a prolonged cycle of victimness, but if someone is actively coming to clear something that they're feeling that they don't really want to be in their life anymore, what if we stopped squashing the other person's emotion and feeling and just said, wow, I hear you. And I am creating space for the possibility that while this hurts deeply now, that you will move through this in a powerful way and perhaps learn something new or better about yourself, or better on the other side of it. What if that was how we viewed emotions, as opposed to, well, don't worry about him and don't think about that, and well, that guy's an ass, or whatever. It's is that actually helping? Or is it masking a bigger issue with a Band-Aid? And then the next thing, again, is just how we use our words, the power of our words, knowing that even if it feels like you constantly don't know how and when to speak, when you do speak, your words matter. And healing your throat and allowing yourself to speak up for yourself and the ways that you choose to interact with other people, let's give each other a little bit of grace to realize that everyone is probably up to something big in their own life, and that we have the opportunity through our words to either cast a spell of blessing or a spell of curse upon another person's life, and realize that that's all. I mean, isn't that one of the most powerful weapons we have is our words? And so, yeah. So that is my little mini rant. That is my little thought process. And also shout out to people that are brave and that are out there trying to meet new people, trying to rewrite stories of maybe how in the past relationships have been for you, and are trying to learn what it means to move from people pleasing into clear, concise, kind communication, and are out there just doing our best, because a lot of people did not learn how to be in healthy relationships. They learned how to not be in healthy relationships and are unlearning that. So a lot of us are kind of out here, I think, in tall bodies known as, quote, adults, with the experience levels of various age children, really just trying to do our best. And so what if we looked at each other that way? And instead of assuming the worst about someone, what if we assumed that they were doing their best, and we could show up in kindness, curiosity, empathy, collaboration, and then also learning to respect each other's no's. Sometimes it's not you, it might be that other person. Sometimes it is you. And if it is you, then that's just a blind spot or a new space of growth for you. But sometimes someone needs to say no for their own health, and that's beautiful. Sometimes they might be saying no for your health. You have no idea. Maybe they're not in a good place to be around you. But what if we learned to not be so sensitive to the feeling of the rejected no, and instead saw it as gratitude that the person showed up in authenticity to tell us what they really wanted and what they really had space for? When we say no to something, then essentially it's telling the universe or the divine what we are, quote, on for, which is basically the opposite. So if I say I'm not available for petty conversations, then what I'm saying to the universe when I say no to that is I am open to deep conversations, to meaningful connections, to relationships that are going to fuel my bigger dreams and my bigger goals. So sometimes, what if when we heard a no, we realize that what this person is doing is actually calibrating their manifestation mechanism so that they can call in more of what they want in their life? Have you ever been a house guest in someone's home that didn't have space or capacity to be hosting, and it kind of just felt like, oh, this is uncomfortable. Like, do I need to get out of your way? Like, do I need to leave? All of that stuff. Like, we're doing that all the time with ourselves as we're growing. And let's also be kind to ourselves. What if Monday version of you was like, heck yes, I cannot wait to go out on Friday. And Friday version of you has read, 3 mean emails, has had, a fight with your mom, and is trying to, just make it through the week. And by the time Friday comes, you're like, man, I just don't know if I have it in me. The no in that situation would be saying, like, no, I'm not available to continue to run in a ragged way. But I am on the opposite to listening to myself, to self-rest, and to showing up fully with the people that I do when I'm showing up with them. Does that make sense? So let's actually reframe when we hear no from someone to say, thank you. Thank you for letting me know what you're calling in for your life, and for creating more space for me to call into my life, what I want. And then to reevaluate, like, what was it about that person, that situation, that thing that we were like, I want more of this. And so even if it's a no in one way, it's like, we can then say to the universe and the divine, like, this may have been a no, but more of this type of thing, please. Like, tweaked maybe a little bit this way. It helps us get even more clear as we're manifesting and calling in the things that we want for our lives. Because isn't that what we want? At the end of the day, we want to be living lives that are in alignment, that feel easeful and peaceful and true, because then we can show up as our fullest embodiment of ourselves. And the world needs that. The world needs embodied leaders, people that are authentically know what they're on about and what they're know about. And also people that are intentional and wise with their words, knowing that what you say and how you say it could be a major turning point in someone else's life. Thank you for being here on this rant with me. I hope that you are able to change the channels around how you feel about yourself and others when they're expressing in a healthy way their emotions. Also, in a healthy way, a new maybe perspective on words in general and how we use them and the power that they are. And then also just the idea that what we say no to opens up this powerful pathway for the divine, for us to be able to call in what we are on about, what we are manifesting, the life that we want, because it's wild. I feel like in so many ways, we're born into this world and we're just told these are the things that you should care about. They're subtle and they're intentional, but it's like, have we spent the time to think about what it is that we actually want to bring forward into this world? What are we aligned and designed to bring forward into this world? And that's different for each of us. So let's be kind to each other on our journeys of self-discovery, realizing that we are changing and have ability to change moment to moment. You are a new person from breakfast to lunch, from Monday to Friday. And learning how to authentically be in the truth of who you are and communicate it to other people is an act of bravery, an act of self-love. And I think a lot of the work that we're called to do here on this planet is people. So let's be kind to each other. Let's not send hateful messages back when someone is trying to be kind. Let's listen and create space for people to say authentic yeses and nos, so that the depth and beauty of the community and connection that we have will actually be nourishing and not quite just, I don't know, I guess the feeling of people pleasing, continued passing on the feeling of people pleasing. Let's actually know what is pleasing and please for ourselves first, and then be able to be an outpouring to others. Sound good? Yeah, me too. Thank you for sitting with me in this. I am realizing that this is a beautiful practice to say out loud the things that you need to. So if you don't have a mic or aren't interested in putting it on a podcast, maybe fill out your car, use your car as your podcast space, and talk to yourself about the things that have gone on. Process it out loud so you can hear it with your own voice. And at the end of all parts of it, say, I am open to the possibility that fill in the blank, what it is you're calling in, or something better. Because that's what we're here about, right? We're here about something, the possibilities of something that's beautiful and great that we can imagine, or something better. And that, my friends, is another episode of Change the Channel podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me, sending you love and light and a lot of authentic and empowered yeses and nos, clear, kind communication, and the ability to hold your own emotions and recognize and honor the emotions of others. Let's go forward and be kinder, more conscious, more community-minded human beings. Does that sound good? All right, Change the Channel fam. Have a wonderful day. I will catch you on the next episode.